Before I go into Season 5, I must again draw attention to a miniseries that a lot of people tend to overlook called Recovery 1, and to the story and characters that it opens the audience up to. This is Agent Washington, voiced by Shannon McCormick, and although he doesn't look like much now, in time he's going to become one of the deepest, most complex, and most beloved characters of the entire series. This miniseries serves to set up the future of Red vs. Blue, where the story will go beyond Blood Gulch, who our characters will meet, and paves the road for a far more complex storyline than what we've seen so far. Before venturing past Blood Gulch, you're going to want to give this one a watch. But back in Blood Gulch itself, the Reds marvel over the arrival of the ship, and the Blues marvel over the arrival of Tucker's abomination, I mean baby. Chuch goes out to the valley where the ship lands and calls dibs on the ship because the rule of dibs trumps all.
Whoa, hold on a second. Before you get too deep into this, let me remind you that we don't exactly have a good track record when it comes to our plans in that tank.
What, you mean the tank that you all conveniently forgot about all last season and now you suddenly remember your history with? No, I'm never gonna let that go. Not ever. Unfortunately for Chuch, Shiela's acting a little weirder than usual, as she takes off, forcing him to retreat. The Reds then puzzle over a mysterious tapping sound coming from the ship and believe it's Donut, assuming he has been flattened to the size of a munchkin. Get it? Munchkin, because his name is Donut. Yeah, okay, I'll shut up now. Upon further investigation, and by that I mean the hatch door opens while they're bullshitting, we discover that it is actually Kaikaina Grif, aka Grif's sister, voiced by Rebecca Frasier.
Grif's sister?
Yeah, isn't that cool?
I always liked Sister. Even though her character is basically a plethora of dumb blonde jokes, she brings a sort of innocence to these by now battle-weary soldiers. Even though she's about as far as innocent as you could possibly get.
I know! I didn't think it was possible, and trust me, I've tried.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Yeah? Well, they say girls can't ejaculate either. But guess what?
Yeah! Wait, what?
Yeah, sorry. Doesn't sound like I have any of the skills you need. Unless you want to see my ping pong ball trick.
Yeah. Wait, what?
I thought about having a kid once.
Oh, really? It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it seems like it would be hard. But I thought, you know, who wants to be known as the girl who's had 7 abortions?
Yeah. Wait, what?
I believe the word is Minji. Either way, I've always enjoyed her character. It's just a shame that this is really the only season we get to know her. Sister has been sent to replace the commander of the army, which in Red terms means Sarge, who is clearly not dead. In reality, she's here to replace Captain Flowers on Blue Team, which makes no sense considering to replace a captain would mean she is in turn an officer herself, but that is clearly not the case. Either way, she's meant for Blue Team, but they don't figure that out until after they bury Sarge 6 feet underground. I'd berate them for it, but really, I would probably do the exact same thing, only I wouldn't really need a reason to do it. On the other half of the canyon, meanwhile...
I need to call command. Hello? Earth to dock. I mean, this place to dock.
Don't you want to say hello to our new friend?
What?
Huh?
I don't. This is...
Take your time. This is a big moment.
Aw, who's adorable and terrifying at the exact same time? You are, little guy. Yes, you are. Ah! Fucking little shit! And that's the first half of the season, really. Red team dealing with Sister, Blue team dealing with the baby, then Blue team deals with both Sister and the baby, while Red team deals with the fact that they just Paolo and Nikki'd their team leader. So, once again, nothing really substantial. I'd be annoyed by it, and truthfully I am, but I enjoy Sister and the baby enough that it doesn't bother me all that much. That and it leads to one of my favorite scenes of the entire series.
I've reached the voicemail system.
Okay, come on.
To leave a message, just wait for the
I
tone.
know how to leave a goddamn message.
When you are finished recording, just hang up, or press pound for more options.
Really, hang up. No shit. I was just gonna keep talking until he decided to check his voicemail.
For delivery options, press 5.
Just give me the damn beep!
To leave a callback number, press 8. To page this person, press 6.
Come on!
To repeat this message, press 9.
I will fucking stab you, computer phone lady!
Things start picking up once Tex returns and starts shooting at the Blues. From the interrogation with Wyoming and Out of Mind, she knows O'Malley has left Doc and figures it's most likely he's infected someone on Blue Team. Chuch reassures her that no one on the team is infected, but does express concern over Shiela, who has continued to act odd. It's during this time that Tex also fills them in on all the events of Out of Mind and her encounters with York and Wyoming.
Wait a minute. How is he even still alive? Aren't we hundreds of years in the future?
I thought it was because of his armor. You know all the freelancer suits had some kind of enhancement. York's was some kind of healing mechanism. It would help him recover from wounds in battle. I thought it might have kept him alive all these years.
Yeah, keep him alive, not keep him young and in fit physical shape. It's fucking healing unit. It's not the Fountain of Youth. When Tex talks about Wyoming teleporting away, Chuch reiterates that every freelancer has a piece of equipment and an AI to run it. And by putting two and two together, he realizes that Gary, the computer that helped him before, is actually Wyoming's AI, Gamma.
Do they know?
It is nothing to worry about. We are close to the end. We will not be stopped now.
We should get going. Hop in.
The revelation that Gary is actually Gamma is really only a surprise if you haven't watched Out of Mind, because they do everything but outright state that he's Wyoming's AI. Still, the fact that this computer that we thought we could trust, I mean, he helped Chuch out and get back to his friends during that whole time travel fiasco. To find out he's actually the enemy and has been lying to them this entire time, it's definitely a bit of a kick in the teeth. I mean, if you can't trust a talking computer, who can you trust, right? Red Team makes their way underground, and for once they actually provide something useful to the plot. Not only do they uncover the looming alien conspiracy that's coming up on them, but they also find a cavern containing a computer with a microphone and numerous cameras that peer into the bases and pretty much every other aspect of the canyon. While it's a subtle effect, and it doesn't really kick in until they talk to Vic later, it's the confirmation needed. Up until this point, we weren't sure if the whole conspiracy, red and blue are the same thing, was real or a result of Church's time travel escapades. Now we know for certain that it is for real. And it once again brings up the question, what is Blood Gulch? Why did these armies send these two teams out to the middle of a box canyon that has no strategic value, no resources worth claiming, and no high-value targets of any kind? What was the point of all of this? Why are they here? The answers are not readily apparent to us, not yet anyway, but they will be in time. While Blue Team transfers Shiela's AI to the ship computer in order to determine if O'Malley is in there, they get a call from Vic, who for some reason has been given new animation that makes him look terrifying to behold. Seriously, look at that fucking face. He's climbing through your windows, snatching your people up. That man means to murder. He tells them that the time has come to assault Red Base now that the Reds are gone. Chuch sends Doc and Sister through the caves while he, Tex, and Tucker head topside. Caboose will stay at the base and watch over Sheila's transfer. They succeed in reaching the abandoned Red Base.
Guess we have two bases in the middle of a box canyon now.
Whoop-de-fucking-do.
Just as Shiela is uploaded into the computer. Turns out O'Malley is not in her, so then why was she freaking out like that? And is in fact infecting the Blue Leader, which on first thought would be Chuch, but upon further investigation is actually a revived Captain Butch Flowers, because apparently the aliens have that kind of technology. So then why not go back and revive that alien that died before? I mean, it would probably be easier. I mean, he's been dead for a smaller period of time. Wyoming corners our heroes at Red Base, along with Gamma, who is now inside the tank because they left it wide open for him. From here, things kind of break into chaos. Wyoming continues to loop time over and over again, but Tucker's the only one who remembers anything, and uses it to his advantage to kill Wyoming. Unfortunately, like what happened to Chuch before, it left a bunch of Wyoming clones. This leads to probably the biggest, most chaotic battle of the series thus far, with everyone getting in on it, red and blue. Before long, the Wyomings, each with the strength of an average freelancer, are whittled down to just one. Gamma is locked behind a firewall on the ship by Shiela, Captain Flowers is killed, again, and the overall plan is explained. Now, this bit admittedly gets kind of confusing, to me at least, and possibly others, but I'll try to explain it as best I can. Basically, the alien quest did not fail, and the Great Prophecy is in fact a real thing, at least as far as the aliens are concerned, but there are just some additions made by Wyoming and Gamma. The quest was really to get Tucker impregnated. Since Tucker was the only one who could use the sword, thus locking the alien out, the baby would be able to wield the sword since it's Tucker's human DNA, thus making the baby the true great hero to fulfill the prophecy. The sword itself is in actuality something Gamma created to help move things along. Wyoming's plan was to use the belief against the aliens by having O'Malley infect the baby and corrupt the aliens' religion, thus paving the way for humanity to win the war. You follow me on that? It's okay if you didn't, it confuses me too. Mostly it's hard to figure out where the actual Great Prophecy ends and where Wyoming and Gamma's inclusion begins. How much did the alien know about this plan? It couldn't have been very much, otherwise why need to kill him? And how long exactly was this plan in effect for? Like, what if O'Malley had never found the Doomsday Fortress in Season 3? Would the sword have just sat there for all eternity? That's a big risk to take on a group of people who, let's be honest here, are pretty goddamn stupid. What was the plan if Tucker hadn't have found the sword? Or was that where the alien was supposed to come in? Also, this is one of the only times in the series where they hint that Red vs. Blue and Halo are within the same continuity, or at least have the same kind of events. Since the timeline for this show...
Timeline?
Shut up. Since the timeline is about 50 shades of fucked up, I don't really know how much stock you can put into it. So really, I'd say it's whatever floats your boat. The more you analyze it, the more questions you ask. And again, I have to reiterate that after this season, we never ever return to the Great Prophecy subplot. These questions have remained open for the last 7 years, and although in recent years it looks like we might revisit it, nothing for definite has been provided. So really, at this point in time, I'd say whatever you think the answer is ultimately the right one. In a surprise move, Tex decides that this is the best idea ever, somehow, and calls for O'Malley to jump back in her head. This becomes a series of O'Malley jumping into the heads of most of the Blood Gulch crew, including a revisit to Caboose's brain that, if nothing else, explains where that yellow church comes from.
You know, I don't really feel all that different. No. Feels pretty much the same. That's kind of weird, huh? Maybe expected more.
I love how Church is just that much of an asshole that not even O'Malley can do anything to him. But Tex gets him back and grabs Wyoming's helmet and Tucker's sword as she and the aliens, baby included, embark the ship. But there's another passenger on board, and that passenger is Andy. And as the ship takes off, Andy finally gets his time to shine.
4! Andy, do not detonate! Can you see her heading? Do you know where she's going? 1! Tex? Boo! No explosion! That sucked.
Ha-ha! Blammo!
Wow! That explosion was awesome! What explosion? I didn't see it. Do it again.
From here on in, there are about 10 different endings, each ranging from ludicrous to hilarious to frighteningly meta. No, not you. But the actual ending is a mirror of the first episode, with Church and Caboose talking and Simmons and Grif spying on them. And that's how Blood Gulch ends, with just more of the same.
Hey, Simmons, just one thing.
What?
Shotgun.
Fuck.
And that's Blood Gulch. So, with all that said and done, what are my overall thoughts on it? Well, first off, I should say that I understand why Blood Gulch is the way it is. This was originally supposed to be just a simple comedy of a bunch of guys dicking around in a canyon. There was no plot in mind, no grander scheme in play. They had no idea where they were going or what would happen. They were just throwing ideas at the wall and seeing what would stick. I get that. And you know what? Despite what I've griped about, I don't begrudge them for how they did it, because when all is said and done, it was a very funny ride. But I am a critic, and I try to judge things accordingly, even knowing the intent, and I try not to be unfair, but I try to be just. That being said, I've heard that the director's commentaries on the Blood Gulch DVDs actually address a lot of the questions I've raised over the course of this retrospective, so I'll give those a listen and see what I find. But despite my complaints, Blood Gulch holds up. It's slow at times, and it had parts that annoyed me, but the jokes and gags are ones that will last a lifetime, and the characters leave such an impression that to this day they are still cherished by internet fans all over the globe. Red vs. Blue redefined machinima, breathed a new form of life into it, and sparked something new, something that formed one of the largest, most influential, and most impressive online communities I have ever seen, and one that I grow to respect more and more the more I see it. In short, there is something special about that little box canyon in the middle of nowhere, with two teams fighting for unknown reasons, and that has inspired and will inspire generations of writers and animators to come. But really, Red vs. Blue was never the same after Blood Gulch ended. Gone was the screwball comedy and the simpleness of the plot. Now, things start to get a little more complicated. Now, it starts to get a little darker. And now, it makes my job of reviewing this show that much easier. So, Blood Gulch is done. Now, for me, the real fun begins.
But we're the red team. Sure, you might not be the best squad, might not be smart, or energetic, or have any skills that qualify you for duty in any other legitimately recognized military unit. However,
Where did that flag come from?
Flag? Who gives a fuck about the flag? How about who's singing?
but with precise operations and proper communication, we will emerge victorious. With a little luck, one of us in particular will die a horrible death, either at the hands of the Blues or as part of a cunning distraction by yours truly.
Why don't we just take over Blue Base?